The ball in and the game is off and running. It will be Burrishoole playing into the bacon factory end in the first half. That means they'll have a strong wind at their backs and they've got possession right from the throw-in. Good work done by Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. Back to the onrushing midfielder. It looks like James Moran. In fact, it was Michael Moran, the wing forward, and he has fired it up and over the bar. That's a dream start for Burrishoole. So many big men up and over the 6-foot mark around the middle. Michael Joyce, Pádraig Holmes, James Moran and big Michael Moran, who's wearing 12 but has started at centre forward. That was some shot with the breeze at his back, flew over the bar.
Brilliant start, Mike, and that started way back in the half-back line. 3 or 4 passes put together before it eventually arrived with Michael Moran, and he struck it with all the confidence in the world and drilled it over the bar. And that's the kind of start a team needs in a county final.
I think that's what you call a dream start. Less than a minute gone and Burrishoole are out in front. They are, in case you needed reminding, the 2-5 on favourites to win this match, and here they come again. They have the breeze at the back, the wind very much in their sails. Jason Doherty's just won a free out in front of his man, while a couple of yards away a bit of pushing and shoving has led to a few shapes being thrown. I see Brendan Prendergast was on the ground there. Doesn't happen too often, but Vinny Neary in very quickly to nip it in the bud.
A bit of indiscipline there on the Burrishoole or the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh defence, because there wasn't a chance of a score. You'd have to say if they stood firm, but now it's a score for Burrishoole, and that's a great start for them. And that was a soft enough free. It was a giveaway free, one that should be defended by the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh defence.
Burrishoole look sharp and they look fit and they look very much up for this. Jason Doherty, the leading scorer in the County Intermediate Championship, has just clipped that free over the bar from 13 metres out. Burrishoole, with that strong breeze at their backs, lead by 2 points to no score. I also see just on the throw-in they've snuck in number 17. That's it looks like from up here Enda McManaman, who wasn't due to start this game. He suffered a fairly bad collarbone injury during the earlier stages of this championship, but from up here it looks like Enda McManaman is in that full forward line, and Colin McManaman just bringing a late surprise there to keep Tuar Mhic Éadaigh and the rest of us very much on our toes. Tom Nocton now at the other end, man who was seriously injured in the semi-final win over Belmullet, fully recovered and starts at centre forward. We'll give you a check on the teams once things settle down. John Heenahan drilling it in towards his brother Joe, just in behind Sean McManaman there for a moment though. Ball ricochets out towards the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh midfielder Micheál O'Neill. Foul on Pat Folan, and that will be a free in to Tuar Mhic Éadaigh and a chance for them to have their first shot at goal. And the man who's coming up to have a look at this is Brendan Prendergast. But that late change on the Burrishoole team, Billy, catching most of us by surprise.
Yeah, I suppose Enda McManaman would be a huge loss to Burrishoole in the last number of weeks, and it looked like he wasn't going to play. But in the absence of Liam O'Malley, it's a good sub to have in the McManaman.
So Brendan Prendergast then way out on the right hand side. He would suit a left footed kicker. He's kicking in to the breeze and he kicks it up and over the bar. 2 points to 1. We've played a little under 4 minutes, and a chance for us to give you a check on the teams. Burrishoole, Shane Nevin starts in goal. Sean McManaman wears 3 and Patrick Mulcrone 4. As Billy mentioned, Liam O'Malley unable to start due to an ankle problem. Dara Drum 5, Michael Joyce 6 and Pádraig McManaman 7. Pádraig Holmes and James Moran are the midfield partnership. Patrick Mulcrone, Damien O'Grady and Michael Moran are the half-forward line. Alan Moran, the captain, David Kane, Jason Doherty and Enda McManaman, who wears 17, are all in the forward division. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, well, it's Brian Heenahan who starts in goal. Mark Heenahan, David Prendergast and Tom Stanton are across the full back line. Michael John Welsh, Brendan Prendergast and MJ Meenahan in the half back line. Micheál O'Neill and John Heenahan at midfield. It's Pat Folan, Tom Nocton and Micheál Ronan wear 10, 11 and 12. Brian Nocton 13, Joe Heenahan 14 and Kevin Dolan, the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh captain, wears 15. 4.5 minutes gone. Enda McManaman has just shot a wide for Burrishoole. They lead by 2 points to 1. And now, Billy, as good a time as any to ask you who you think will win this game before we go too far.
Well, Mike, I've been saying maybe since the start of the year looking towards Burrishoole, but they're having a lot of injuries going into today's game, missing quite a few players, and Tuar Mhic Éadaigh haven't really played this year so far, and this could be the day, as I said, that they could come out and really play they've struggled all year, and the pressure hasn't been on them. There's no pressure on them, but you'd have to say I wouldn't change my mind. I think Burrishoole were the team in form all year, and maybe they'll carry it through today.
Michael Joyce, their big, strong centre half back to Sean McManaman, the fullback. Good ball into the space in front of big David Kane. He's their second leading scorer in the championship. David Kane played most of his football up until this year in defence, has been reconstructed as a full forward by Colin McManaman, and it has worked a treat so far. At this moment in time, he's about 40 yards out, away out in the right wing. He's won a free and he pumps it in with that right boot, drilling it in towards Jason Doherty, the danger man. Knocked down towards Damien O'Grady, but the ball skids off that greasy surface and it's gone out over the line and wide. So many talented individuals, Billy, in this intermediate final on both sides, but I know one man you're looking forward to seeing today on the big stage, Jason Doherty, leading scorer in the intermediate championship, and probably a man who will be in James Horan's plans in a couple of months' time.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I'm sure James Horan is here looking at it. And the other one I would like to see is James Moran. There's a lot of talk about James Moran in the middle of the park, and he did take down one great catch there on a kick out, but certainly Jason Doherty is one to watch for the future.
Just looking around the field, no major positional switches or changes to talk about. That Burrishoole full forward line at the moment, Jason Doherty, David Kane and Enda McManaman. Meanwhile at the other end, MacHale O'Neill goes soloing down along the right hand side. He's about 30 yards out from the Burrishoole goal, into the centre to Tom Mhic. Quick hands to Brendan Prendergast, who never got hold of that at all, kicking into the wind. He tried to keep it low and hard, but it scuffed off his boot and it's gone away and out to the right and wide. Brendan Prendergast, man who played in the All-Ireland Under-21 final of 2001 for Mayo against Tyrone, and here he is 9 years later, back at the heart of the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh defence again, back for a second shot at this title, of course. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh in the space of 12 months, pipped here at MacHale Park by Westport last year, and bidding to go one better and win the club's third county intermediate championship this afternoon. That's a big kick out from Shane Nevin. It went right into the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh half with the wind and that rain now that's arrived as well at its back. Free to Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. They go direct as well in towards Kevin Dolan. One on the ground by Patrick Mulcrone to Dara Drum. Dara Drum goes back the field to Michael Joyce, and Burrishoole play some neat and tidy football to get themselves out of trouble. Little bit of over elaboration, but Michael Joyce uses his power to hold off both Micheál Ronan and MacHale O'Neill and win the free. Takes it himself. James Moran into the centre, looking for Damien O'Grady. Knocked away by a Tuar Mhic Éadaigh hand. It belonged to Michael John Welch. Quick hands by Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. Micheál Ronan into the centre to Brendan Prendergast, and now Kevin Dolan. Dolan clipped into the centre towards Joe Heenahan. He's just on the arc of the semicircle. Tom Mhic comes at pace. The Tuar Mhic Éadaigh playing in all black this afternoon. They look like they mean business. Pat Folan back outside to Brian Mhic, looking for the spectacular score. He's caught it well. The umpire nods his head, and that's gone up and over the bar. Fine score from Brian Mhic. 9 points now in the championship for the corner forward Brian Mhic. He struck that sweet as a nut, and after 8.5 minutes they couldn't be any closer. Burrishoole 2 points, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh 2 points. They're right back in this match again.
Yeah, that was a sweet bit of football there, Mike, from Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, winning the ball back at their own half back. You'd have to say that Burrishoole kind of threw that away in their build up. They just didn't get it in fast to the full forward line, lost the ball in their half forward line, and then Tuar Mhic Éadaigh attacked from there, and some lovely football. Joe Heenahan was involved, a quick layoff, and then into the line came the score for Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, and put it over the bar. Brian Mhic, from a very awkward angle, going towards the corner flag, swung it in with his right foot. That was a brilliant score for Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, and certainly Tuar Mhic Éadaigh will be happy. I see Joe Heenahan down. He seems to be limping pretty badly, Mike, and he'd be a major loss to Tuar Mhic Éadaigh if he had to go off, but he's beginning to hobble away from that now and looks in a bit of trouble.
So Brian Mhic from Treen Lower has kicked the equaliser. The team's level for the first time in this county intermediate final. Joe Heenahan, as Billy mentioned, is running ever so gingerly on that right ankle, but he's been patched up, and he'll play on until that body can take no more. Game has restarted. Bit of wild swinging around the middle as that ball bobbles from one side to the other. Back it goes into the safe hands of John Heenahan. John Heenahan goes long in towards the brother Joe. Back to the wing back. That's MJ Minahan. They call him Pebble in Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. Pebble taken to the ground and fouled by Patrick Mulcrone. That will be a free in to Tuar Mhic Éadaigh right in front of the Burrishoole goal. It's about 35 yards out, and slowly but surely Tuar Mhic Éadaigh starting to settle into this game. Every chance they get, that half back line of Michael John Welch, Brendan Prendergast and MJ Minahan, they'll push upfield, they'll support that forward line. Minahan fouled the free to Kevin Dolan, and the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh captain kicks his team out in front. 10.5 minutes gone, and breeze or no breeze, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh have engineered themselves into a 1-point lead, and fully deserved of it.
Well, this wasn't in the script, Mike, you know, on the way Burrishoole started with 2 fast points, but Burrishoole have come right back into this game, and you know, their half back line and midfield doing awful well, picking up a lot of the breaks, and the forward line doing well. You know, Kevin Dolan and Brian Youghton in there, 2 very good corner forwards, and Joe Heenahan at full forward, winning a lot of hard ball.
So Tuar Mhic Éadaigh now have hit the last 3 points of the match. Frees from Brendan Prendergast and Kevin Dolan, and a point from play from Brian Youghton. They lead by 3-2, and here they come again. They're starting to get on top around the middle. Ball cut out though by Michael Joyce, the centre half back for Burrishoole. Tries to move it out to the side. The pressure from Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, as you'd expect, is pretty relentless. Pádraig Holmes goes short to Pádraig McManaman, runs into 2 Tuar Mhic Éadaigh men and has to go backwards. Burrishoole keep the football and manage eventually to work that ball clear. Good play by Dara Drum. He's found Damien O'Grady, the centre half forward. Man making a run inside is Pádraig McManaman. O'Grady brings it into the tackle. Not a wise move when you're up against Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. Does well though, moves it on quickly. Outside to James Moran. Now Michael Moran drilled in over the top. He's looking for David Kane. Kane is running towards the corner flag and the old tunnel at pace and fast as those legs can carry him. Not quite fast enough. Ball has gone out over the line, and that will go down as another missed opportunity for Burrishoole, and for a team who looked so comfortable, so confident in the first couple of minutes. They really now look to be doubting themselves almost, with 12 minutes gone.
Yeah, maybe the favourites tag is beginning to come down heavily on Burrishoole, and you know, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh coming in as underdogs are throwing caution to the wind, and they're playing the football at the moment. Burrishoole running into a lot of tackles, Mike, carrying the ball into tackles and losing possession, and that has been the story of it so far.
Of course, Burrishoole as well, without so many of their established players through injury. Liam O'Malley, Davy Kane, Vinnie McLaughlin, Shane McDermott, Adrian McManaman, all absent. But here's Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, John Heenahan back to Brian Youghton. He hit that with the Kithog with all he had. Wide on the right though. It was certainly inside his scoring zone. He felt confident enough to have a shot at goal. That is gone wide. 2 wides for both sides, as this game still, I suppose, very much in its formative stages, still trying to find a bit of a shape, a bit of a pattern. But as we expected, around the middle is congested, a lot of traffic and a lot of banging and big hits going in already. Shane Nevin goes right down the centre. He's looking to pick out James Moran. The breaking ball though is won by MJ Minahan, racing onto it in a flash, uses the boot to find Joe Heenahan. He's beaten Sean McManaman to a few balls now, and he's out in front here again. Joe Heenahan, cute as a fox, looks up, men in the middle. One of them is Brian Youghton, arriving at the back post. He jumps with Dara Drum. The umpire felt that last touch the fist of Brian Youghton, and that will go down as Tuar Mhic Éadaigh's 3rd wide. But we expected it to be pretty fierce around the middle, and so far Brendan Prendergast, John Heenahan, Micheál O'Neill, and those wing forwards and wing backs picking up most of the breaks.
Picking up the breaks around midfield, and Brendan Heenahan driving forward like he always does. Brendan, a great club man, great centre half back, very strong, and he's taken the game to Burrishoole, and you know, Burrishoole just needs to settle down and get into the game.
So it's Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, who are powered, of course, by 7 sets of brothers who are involved in their setup. They're the team that are out in front. In case you've just knocked on your radio, you may have just gone online wherever you are listening around the world this afternoon. The county intermediate football final is beginning to take shape. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh lead 3-2. Tom Youghton, 40 yards, chuck it down. What a score from Tom Youghton. Superb from the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh centre half forward. He took that ball in his stride. He crossed the 45 at pace, took one look at those posts, drove it into the wind and over the bar. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh lead by 4 points to 2. that the score of the match.
This is what happens in county finals, Mike. You know, it doesn't matter what form you bring into a county final. It's the team that plays on the day that wins the games. And so far, it looks like Tuar Mhic Éadaigh's day. They're picking up everything. They're ruling the roost. And I'm sure Colin McMenamin is looking at his Burrishoole team and saying, OK, you were unbeatable all year, but today is the big day for Tuar Mhic Éadaigh.
Well, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are 2 points in front now, and Tom Naughton's score has got their crowd, I can tell you, up on their feet and in full voice. And here he is again, stretchered off the pitch before half-time in the semi-final after an accidental collision, but restored to full health. Here's his brother Brian, kick half blocked down. That took the sting out of the shot though, and Sean McManaman, the uncompromising Burrishoole full-back, drops the shoulder, drives out past Pat Folan, clear to Patrick Mulcrone to Enda McManaman, wearing 17, but he's moved out from the full forward line now to try and help around the middle. Burrishoole are taking in water around the midfield. Here's the captain, Alan Moran, goes long in towards David Kane, tries to use the body to knock Brendan Prender out of the way. David Prendergast there to cover. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh have options left and right. Prendergast goes down the line as far as MacHale O'Neill. Hand to toe once and hand to toe twice. Has to look up. He needs support. He's shut down very quickly by James Moran. Superb pressure by the Burrishoole midfielder. It's Michael Moran, in fact, who's in to win that ball back. Brilliant play by the wing forward. Back to Enda McManaman. He's driven it down the centre though, into the arms of the sweeper back there. The sweeper on this occasion, Mark Heenahan. Vinnie Neary says play away. Advantage to Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. They have the ball. They're working so hard. Micheál Ronan back to John Heenahan, wearing that famous left bandage on the bandage on the left knee, as always. Goes back to Brendan Prendergast onto the Kitog and fongs it down the field 40-50 yards in towards Brian Naughton, beaten to it back there by Dara Drum. This is end-to-end stuff. The county intermediate final is 17 minutes old, and Tuar Mhic Éadaigh lead Burrishoole by 4 points to 2 as out comes the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh goalkeeper Brian Heenahan. We wouldn't be a bit surprised if he comes on out the field later on in this game. He's just hit a 50-yard pass into Tom Naughton's chest. Picked him out there at his ease. Tom Naughton across the field to Kevin Dolan. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are playing all the football right now. Dolan takes on his man. He skips by Patrick Mulcrone. Shoots for the score from 40 yards. It was just outside his range. Wide on the left-hand side. That was some passage of play. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh throwing the ball around with confidence and real style. Dolan's shot though wide on the left. It goes down as another Tuar Mhic Éadaigh wide. But so far there's only one team in it.
One team in it, Mike, and they're playing all the football, some beautiful football. Kevin Dolan, Brian Naughton in there in the full forward line, Joe Heenan causing all kinds of trouble, and around the midfield, you know, Burrishoole finding it very hard to get their hands on the ball. Brendan Prendergast driving out of that area there. So Micheál O'Neill and John Heenan also controlling around the middle, and they're winning most of the breaks and really putting pressure on Burrishoole. You know, it's looking like Tuar Mhic Éadaigh at this stage, Mike. You know, the pattern of the game is swinging towards Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, and when it does, it normally ends up that the team that are on form and things are happening for will win this county final. Burrishoole need to step into this game pretty fast.
18 minutes gone, Billy. What would you do if you were Colin McManaman? What problems can he fix? What should he tackle first?
Well, they're very nervous looking, Mike. That's number one. They're very nervous looking, but you have to give great credit to Tuar Mhic Éadaigh for the way they have tackled this game.
And tackle is the operative word. They are hitting anything that moves hard and fair, as Brendan Prendergast releases it down the line to Tom Naughton. He's the playmaker, pulling all the strings from centre forward out to his brother Brian. Man trying to stay with him is Dara Drum. Brian Naughton looking all around to see what's on, chips it in over the top, looking for the run. The run has come from the midfielder Micheál O'Neill from a tight angle. It's gone up and over the bar. They are playing very smart football, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. The Naughton brothers, Tom and Brian, are doing most of the damage out around that half forward line. They just seem to be a split second ahead of their markers. They look really up for it, and Micheál O'Neill came through the middle there like a train. Nobody tracked the run. He did very well to squeeze it over the bar. Burrishoole haven't scored now for 17 minutes. They trail by 5 points to 2, and Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are really slipping through the gears quite nicely. The kick out from Shane Nevin is fisted back defiantly by John Heenahan. Alan Moran is there to win the break. Burrishoole are trying to flood the middle third of the field with bodies now to try and soak up breaks. Michael Joyce to Pádraig Holmes to James Moran. He goes long, direct with the breeze at his back, in looking for David Kane. Jason Doherty hasn't been in this game at all yet. He's been crowded out. And just as I say that, 3 Tuar Mhic Éadaigh men get in around him. The toe poke from Brendan Prendergast, and the ball is gone away from the Burrishoole forward line again. Tom Stanton, the corner back, comes out with that ball. He had it, he's lost it. His pocket picked by big Pádraig Holmes. Into help comes Patrick Mulcrone. The kick eventually from Alan Moran is up in the air. It's wild, it's under pressure, and it's into no man's land as John Heenahan strides back to win that ball. He is such an imposing presence. Burrishoole man down injured in the middle of the field. Game goes on all the while as Vinnie Neary spots a pull on a jersey. I think the foul was on Liam O'Malley, who has just been sprung into the game. Sean McManaman has been taken off. He's receiving some treatment. Looks like it could be a blood sub. Liam O'Malley is on the field, if only for the short term. But with this injury and this stoppage, it's as good as time as any to take a breath and talk about that last Tuar Mhic Éadaigh score. All the good things you want to see in a game of football, really. Ball being moved at pace, players coming in support, and above all, the move finished with a score.
Certainly, Mike, and you know, no matter what kind of football you're playing all year, when it comes to county final day, that's really when it all happens. And you know, for Burrishoole, they had played the football all year. They're undefeated in league, and in most games, I don't think they've lost a game all year. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh struggled with their form right up to county final time. But today is the day to prove it, Mike, and they are here today playing all the football. Burrishoole very laboured, under pressure all the time from Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. Great pressure being put on by Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. Every time a Burrishoole man has the ball, he's been tackled, he's been hit. The pressure is being put on him, and this is a big test for Burrishoole today.
Well, certainly time is very much on Burrishoole's side, but anything that could have gone wrong in the build-up to this game would seem to have gone wrong. Liam O'Malley is back in the dugout again. He just came in there briefly to cover for Sean McManaman, who was being patched up. Also, Patrick Mulcrone is the player who was down injured there, and thankfully for Burrishoole is fit to continue, because at this rate, Colin McManaman and his selectors, John Chambers and Kevin Horan, they're working their way through their subs quicker than they would have liked, and they can ill afford to lose anybody else. Game restarts. John Heenahan sitting back in front of his full back line, master of all he surveys, and just as I say it, he's given the ball away, of course. Kicked it right down the throat of a Burrishoole man. We've played 22 minutes in the first half, and Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are 3 points in front and look like they're enjoying the view from there very much indeed. Burrishoole now a little bit of time and space in their own half to throw the ball around. Man on the ball is Michael Moran. Seemed to catch a stray Tuar Mhic Éadaigh hand. Referee Vinnie Neary says play away. Michael Moran down the line towards Jason Doherty, who has Mark Heenahan shadowing him and sticking with him and watching his every move. Doherty does well. Quick feet to get it back to Alan Moran. Is it Alan Moran from way out the field? He's caught it well, and that's gone up and over the bar. Fine score from the Burrishoole captain. All the spade work done by Jason Doherty. Alan Moran just sat back in the pocket, almost like a rugby out half looking for a drop goal. He just sat back, waited, and when the pass arrived from Jason Doherty, Moran hit it very well indeed with the outside of his right boot from way out on the left hand side, and it flies over the bar. 5-3. That's Burrishoole's first score for 21 minutes.
Yeah, and it looked laboured. It didn't look like it was going anywhere until Alan Moran stepped into the line. He said, that's enough of this, carry on, let's go for a score. And what a score with the outside of his boot, mate. That was a great point.
So Alan Moran, the Burrishoole captain, man who's already lifted both the County Cup and the Division 1B League Cup this season, kicks Burrishoole to within 2 scores. And considering how much they have been outplayed and outfought and outthought in this first half, you have to say they're still very much in this game. For all Tuar Mhic Éadaigh's territorial advantage and control in terms of possession, they have just a 2-point lead, and that will be, I'm sure, a source of concern to their manager, Jack Grimes, as half-time starts to loom into view now. Jack Grimes, just as I mentioned him, he's bounding up the sideline.
Yellow for David Kane, I would think, Mike.
Well, Vincent Neary's attention was brought to something there by his linesman, Martin Murphy from Ballinrobe. David Kane, who plays the game very much on the edge. He's a very physical type of player. Picks up a yellow card, and I'm sure that won't bother him unduly, but he will have to be on his behaviour now. That yellow card, the first of this county intermediate final, comes after 24 and a half minutes. Big hit by Dara Drum on Tom Yockton. Foul hit, says the referee, Vincent Neary. Stop Tom Yockton in his tracks. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh get the free.
I think he was really slipping into that tackle there, Mike. I don't think it might have been a free. I think Tom just slipped into the Burrishoole man there rather than the Burrishoole man stopping him. I think it mightn't have been a free, but it is a free. That's a chance for Kevin Dolan to put it over the bar.
Tom Yockton, man who works as a teacher in St. Gerald's College here in Castlebar, trots back in towards the edge of the square. Certainly gave his family and the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh supporters some anxious moments when he was injured in the semi-final. Thankfully it all worked out okay in the end as Kevin Dolan hooks that free wide on the left. Really should have scored from there, breeze or no breeze. He's been kicking fairly well in this game. That is 5 wides for Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, and while they will have the breeze at their backs in the half, Billy, they have had an awful lot of ball in the first 25 minutes.
Yeah, they have an awful lot of ball, and those 5 wides will count, but they're still 5-3 ahead. They'll be happy with that coming in towards half time. But Burrishoole begin to settle a little bit, you'd have to say, Mike. But again, a great win back by Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. The
kick out from Shaven breaks in the middle of the field. Very little clean catching. John Heenahan got that dirty ball, moves it on to Tom Yockton. Now Brian Yockton, he can solo with both feet. MJ Minahan went one way, the ball the other, and Yockton does well to recover. Help comes from Kevin Dolan, the left corner forward, spots the men in the middle. There are 3 of them lining up. Micheál O'Neill to John Heenahan. Man outside on the overlap is the right half back, Michael John Welch. Welch driving it in towards the edge of the square. Brian Yockton timed his jump action. Back to Minahan. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh need a score, and MJ Minahan fires it up and over the bar. Good score from the left half back, MJ Minahan. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh lead by 3 points yet again. That was patient and measured. They came down along the left, they worked it into the centre, eventually crossed from the right and over the bar. There must have been 6-7 Tuar Mhic Éadaigh men involved in that move. Burrishoole man didn't lay a glove on that ball, and finished by Minahan. Yeah, well, this is the kind of play we expect from Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, Mike. You know, down through the years, over the last number of years, this team has been playing together, and their teamwork is really sticking out here today. So MJ Minahan, son of the Rock, kicks Tuar Mhic Éadaigh 3 in front. That ball pulled on first time by Brian Yockton. It's not a day for fancy football, and just as I said, Kevin Dolan chip lifts like Kieran MacDonald, and Dolan fists it up and over the bar. Super score. Ball going away from Dolan. It's a wet day, it's a greasy ball, it's a slippery surface. Didn't even bend his back, just chipped it on the run. Lovely piece of skill. Left his marker for dead, hit for that crossbar, and when he saw the whites of the keeper's eyes, he fisted it up and over the bar. 7 points to 3. That's Kevin Dolan's first point from play, and it was worth waiting for.
Yes, indeed, Mike. You know, and this is the kind of display that every team hopes for in a county final. This is what you want to do in a county final, and Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are doing it.
We're into the final. 2 minutes of normal time at the end of this first half, and Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, the men from the Gaeltacht, lead by 7 points to 3. They've played pretty much all of the good football as Michael John Welch drives out through Pádraig Holmes, takes him on, moves it to Pat Folan, Welch again, and now Tom Yockton. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh full of running. They have worked very hard on their fitness with Jack Grimes again this season, and they are buzzing around MacHale Park. Here's Kevin Dolan taking on his man now at every opportunity, clips it into the centre. Joe Heenahan is outnumbered 4-1, touches that ball on the ground, and Burrishoole will have the free. We'll have at least 3 minutes of additional time at the end of this first half as the sun breaks through the clouds away over to our left hand side on what is by and large a fairly overcast Sunday afternoon here in Castlebar. A few clouds though starting to appear on the horizon. There was holding on Jason Doherty as that ball was delivered from Sean McManaman. Burrishoole will get a free, but if Burrishoole are to get back into this game, Billy, and push on and win it, they need to find some way of getting Jason Doherty on the ball, don't they?
Yeah, they probably do, Mike, but you know, the avenues to Jason Doherty is well and truly blocked out by Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. Like, they're getting numbers back, they're playing all the good football, Mike, they're winning the ball, they're transferring it fast, and their movement is very fast. Burrishoole look a little stuck to the ground today, and you know, when you see a team like that in a county final, you say, okay, they're stuck to the ground, Mike, and when you're stuck to the ground, it doesn't go away too fast, I can tell you.
Michael Moran, though, gets that scoreboard ticking over again in the 30th minute of the first half. He kicks Burrishoole's 4th point. That's his 2nd of the match, brings his tally in the championship to 13 points. He hit a couple against Kilchama in the semi-final. That free just edges Burrishoole that little bit closer. It's a 3-point game again, 7 points to 4, as all eyes fall onto the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh goalkeeper from Gurchin Naquella, and that is Brian Heenahan. Runs up and drives it with that right foot out towards John Heenahan or Pat Folan. Both of them beaten to it by Pádraig Holmes, though. The midfielder with those distinctive white gloves does well, wins his free. Taken quickly, driven in over the top towards Doherty or Kane. Out comes Brian Heenahan wearing a very distinctive blue tracksuit top. You could pick him out a mile away. Looking for MacHale Ronan. Shouldered hard. There was a foul on a Burrishoole man. Jason Doherty, interestingly, number 15, out around the middle there as well. Burrishoole men now going where they're needed. The foul was committed by David Prendergast, I do believe. Yellow card for the full back. He's the man, of course, that was sent off in last year's county intermediate final. He will not want to suffer the same fate again today. He's just become the 2nd player to be booked in this match, as David Kane goes racing out towards the corner flag to get that ball. His shot flicked out by Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, hand 45 to Burrishoole.
Yeah, and an impossible task there, trying to kick that ball over from the in-line, Mike. You know, you need to be recycling that ball out into a position where you can get a score, and that's been the hallmark of Burrishoole's play. It's not cute. They're not playing well. They're not transferring the ball. They're just not doing the right thing when they're on the ball, Mike, and it's shown there with that snap kick there from David Kane. He was going nowhere with that kick, and they were lucky to get the 45 out of it.
So the 45 is the end result. We're a minute and a half into the 3 minutes of possible injury time. Up steps Pádraig Holmes. He's away out on the left hand side. It's got the distance, and it almost was flicked into the net there by David Kane. He got a fist to that greasy ball. It flew across the face of the goal. A few Tuar Mhic Éadaigh hearts in mouths, but Brendan Prendergast in to gather the bits and pieces, and he moves it clear to MacHale O'Neill as a little bit of mixing starts in around the goal, and a few men hopping off one another. Some 50-60 yards away. The ball is won back by Burrishoole, though. Good work, as it was won back there somehow by their right half forward Patrick Mulcrone. Foul on Enda McManaman. The hits now are starting to fly in that little bit faster and with that little bit more intensity. Not sure if any of the umpires down behind that goal saw who hit who, but I do think John Heenahan and David Kane weren't a million miles away. Ball drilled in by Moran. It might fall for Doherty. In comes Damien O'Grady. Between the two of them, they can't get it under control, and out comes Brian Heenahan, the goalkeeper, to play almost as an extra defender and move it down the field to his cousin Joe Heenahan. Breaks the first tackle, looking for Brian Yockton. Measured the pass to perfection. Dara Drum came racing in but overshot the runway. Brian Yockton has it again for Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. We're into the 3rd minute of stoppage time now, as MacHale O'Neill drives it into the full forward line towards Kevin Dolan. He's away over on the left hand side, chips it in towards Pat Folan. Folan had to climb high to win that ball. He's surrounded by Burrishoole men. He's been fouled by Sean McManaman and Pádraig McManaman. They've given away the free between them, but Tuar Mhic Éadaigh had to work much harder for that score. But again, it's so simple, it's so effective, and it's smart football.
Smart football, Mike, and they have the space to do it. Burrishoole just struggling just to keep tabs on Tuar Mhic Éadaigh when they're coming forward.
Kevin Dolan drills the free over the bar. That will be the last action of the first half. Vinnie Neary has seen enough. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh sprint down that tunnel with a 4-point lead at the break, and they are worth every single one of that 4-point lead. It's Tuar Mhic Éadaigh 8 points, Burrishoole 4. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh's leading scorer in the championship, Kevin Dolan, has hit 3 points, but it's not about one man, it's not about one player. If you want to talk about a team performance, a team game, Billy, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, 15 men have played their part in this 4-point lead, as going down the tunnel, I think some tempers seem to have boiled over, and that's, I suppose, always a risk when two teams head down the tunnel together at half-time in a county final. I think the stewards and the linesmen moved in quickly to nip that in the bud. Thankfully, it seems from our vantage point here, sense has prevailed. But just to wrap up, Billy, to get back to the football maybe for a moment, it was a real team effort from Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, and Colin McManaman has a lot of talking to do in that Burrishoole dressing room.
He has, Mike. You know, this is a day when Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are playing all the football and Burrishoole are struggling just to get to grips with that type of play that they're playing. They're playing fast, open football, playing it into space, and they just seem to have the legs on them as well, Mike. They seem to have the legs on Burrishoole at the moment, and what's happening down there at the tunnel won't help things either now at half time, but it's all about Tuar Mhic Éadaigh playing the better football, Mike, and well deserving of their 8-4 lead at half time. And it's very hard to see where Burrishoole are going to come from. Colin Mack will win at half time, and he'd say, look at favourites have to play when they reach a county final. Favourites have to play, Mike. There's nobody going to give a county final to Burrishoole without playing, and Tuar Mhic Éadaigh came into this just in the right frame of mind. Complete outsiders, you'd have to say, Mike.
Burrishoole as well, Billy, really missing the likes of Liam O'Malley and Adrian McManaman in particular, two experienced strongmen.
And David Kane inside, who's a very good score getter in the full forward line. And those kind of injuries, have really struck to Burrishoole all year, and serious injuries, long-term injuries, which have thrown them off balance. But you'd have to say, though, Mike, it's all about Tuar Mhic Éadaigh today, and they are playing the football. They're playing the football that wins county titles, and that's the kind of football you want in a county final day.
There are the thoughts of Billy Fitzpatrick, who, like the rest of us, has enjoyed the first half here at MacHale Park in Castlebar. A first half that had a little bit of everything, and just there, going into the dressing rooms at half time, had a little bit too much as tempers began to fray. But hopefully we'll get back to the serious business of this intermediate championship final very, very soon indeed. Just to recap, at half time here in Castlebar, it's advantage Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. The rank outsiders lead Burrishoole by 8 points to 4. Don't go away though. Second half commentary coming up very shortly.
OK, back to MacHale Park, where Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are leading Burrishoole by 8 points to 4 at the half time break.
Thanks, Angelina. Perfect timing. Second half just off and running this second. Vinnie Neary from Bonnyconlon gets us underway again. No changes as far as we can see on either side. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh turning around now to defend the Albany end here at MacHale Park with a 4-point cushion underneath them. And of course, in case you are just joining us or joined us late, worth remembering too that Burrishoole forced to start this game without their county defender Liam O'Malley. Misses out due to an ankle ligament injury. He did come on for a few minutes during the first half to cover when Sean McManaman was receiving some treatment, but by the looks of things, he will be reduced to a cameo role in this county final. And Billy Fitzpatrick, speaking of cameo roles, a couple of people coming up to talk to us at half time mentioning, should or shouldn't Colin McManaman have named himself among the Burrishoole subs today? He looks fit, he looks lean and mean. He did tell me last week though the body is just not in a state to play championship football. You have your doubts. You throw him in there for 10 or 15 minutes.
Yes, I think he'd be invaluable there today, Mike, because Burrishoole need a leader on the field. They need a guy with Colum's strength and power around the field today, and they're just maybe missing that at the moment.
Colin McManaman, who did tell the Mayo News last week that he does fill in training from time to time when they're short in numbers, but the wear and tear from years playing with Burrishoole and indeed the Mayo senior football team as well means that his back and his knee in particular just not up to the rigours of club football week after week anymore. And at 39 years of age now, he has stepped onto the sidelines, and in this his first season as Burrishoole manager, doing a pretty decent job. League champions, county cup champions, and here they are in the county intermediate final, hoping to win the championship for the third time, the first since 1992. Now they've made a decent start to this second half. They've just won a free. Their captain Alan Moran, man who's also worn the county jersey with great distinction in the past at minor and under 21 level, he's been fouled, and this will present Jason Doherty with a chance to kick just his second point of this county intermediate final. He's been held to a point from a free so far. Kicking into the wind now. It's a tricky breeze as well. It's swirling. He's kicked this out of his hands. Plenty of height. It hangs on the breeze wide on the right hand side. Well, if Burrishoole are to get back into this game, there is no doubt that Jason Doherty is the most likely source of the scores that would drag them back into contention. But they probably need a goal, Billy, and the way Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are packing their defence, and in particular dropping John Heenahan back to play as a sweeper. It won't be easy to find that goal.
No, and there's no threat from Burrishoole to get a goal, Mike. Even the first half, they didn't look like getting a goal, and I think to win this game, they need to get a goal. That was a great catch there.
Fine take from Pádraig Holmes, the 24-year-old midfielder. Brian Heenahan from Tuar Mhic Éadaigh leaving the kick out down on top of him. Burrishoole get the free, but it was dropped in on top of Jason Doherty. He pushed his man in the back with two hands, well spotted by Vinnie Neary, and Tuar Mhic Éadaigh get the free. Take it quickly, maybe too quickly, just got their calls and signals mixed up, and Burrishoole have the ball back again. It's with James Moran, their big midfielder, down towards Michael Moran. Michael Moran out in front of Brendan Prendergast. Michael Moran, who's playing at centre forward in this county final, despite wearing 12. He's won a free 45 yards out. Loose man roaring for it over on the far side. That's the wing forward, Patrick Mulcrone. 3 Tuar Mhic Éadaigh men in around him quickly. A fourth arrives now. There has to be a free man. Alan Moran has it. Now he's surrounded. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh in so quickly to close down the ball carrier. Foul on Micheál Ronan. They have done their homework, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, and they have done it diligently. They take the free quickly. They're playing this game at 100 miles an hour. Brian Yochton, Kevin Dolan, and now Pat Folan. Pat Folan, the rangy wing forward, heading for the open country along that right hand side. Now changes the direction of the run and goes back infield to Joe Heenahan, to Brendan Prendergast. Released the ball just as he was about to be tackled to Tom Yochton. Very comfortable on the ball is Tom Yochton. Solos on the spot, waits for support. It comes from Kevin Dolan, tight to the corner. Man keeping an eye on him is Dara Drum. Dolan inside to Micheál O'Neill. O'Neill holding on for dear life. At times Tuar Mhic Éadaigh can go through 15-20 seconds hanging on to possession. They have obviously been working in tight squares, in tight grids down in Tuar Mhic Éadaigh in recent times. They eventually run out of room. Good work by James Moran, and Burrishoole have the free. But the way they play that ball in tight spaces and keep it, Billy, they have obviously been working in close contact.
And that's the combination over many years, Mike, of playing together. That's what comes with that playing together, and their combination and the way they're able to hold possession.
Michael John Welch, man who won an All-Ireland over 40s medal last December, pondering into that tackle to get a fist to the ball. Breaks though to a Burrishoole man again. Pádraig Holmes uses the boot to dock Jason Doherty out in front of Mark Heenahan this time, dancing away from the tackles. Back to Michael Moran, who had his ankles clipped. He's injured himself, seemed to twist his knee there. He's down and in real distress. Game continues. It was an accidental injury, but he looks to be in real pain. Meanwhile, at the other end, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh have used the boot to good effect. They've driven the ball 50 yards down into the corner to Kevin Dolan, flicked on by Micheál O'Neill. Here's Joe Heenahan, chance of a goal perhaps. Tackle from behind and fouled. Free into Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, but worries for Burrishoole. Michael Moran is in real
I think this
trouble.
could be a serious injury, Mike, and that will add to Burrishoole's injuries all year. They just have had an awful year with long-term injuries, Mike, and it looks like this is another one to their number 12, Michael Moran. He went down there and he's holding his knee. It looks like it's pretty bad.
Michael Moran, who had possession of the ball and was about to take on his man by the looks of things, and we're a fair bit away. He seemed to twist his knee as he tried to go past the defender. And to Brendan Prendergast's credit, as soon as the Burrishoole man hit the deck, Brendan Prendergast was calling to the sideline for the medics to come in and check out the situation. The play has stopped. There's a Tuar Mhic Éadaigh player down injured as well at the other end. Not quite as serious yet. It's just a case of running repairs for Micheál Ronan. But with 6.5 minutes gone now in the second half, Billy, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh about to kick a free that would extend their lead to 5 points, 9-4. It really is their final to lose, and I suppose it's at a time like this that their experience and the experience of losing last year will stand to them.
Yeah, and the last 5 minutes belonged to Burrishoole. They attacked. They had four or five attacks, ball in around the goal mouth, but it was Tuar Mhic Éadaigh who mopped it up every time. And the numbers they're getting back, Mike, and the tackles they're putting in, Burrishoole can't find a way through that Tuar Mhic Éadaigh defence. But as you said there, this is from years of playing together, losing last year's final, and the combination that they're producing today and the teamwork they're producing today comes from years playing together, Mike.
Well, it's no surprise that Colin McManaman and the Burrishoole management team will give Michael Moran every opportunity to recover from this injury. As we mentioned, so many players not on the field today due to injury. Davy Kane, Vinnie McLaughlin, Shane McDermott, Adrian McManaman and Liam O'Malley all out of this county final due to injuries, and Michael Moran, who's been playing at centre half forward, well, it looks like his day is over as well. And certainly if Burrishoole are going to win this game now, it will be against the head. They're 4 points behind. They've just lost Michael Moran. He's being helped from the field now. He will play no further part. It's a very, very sad end to a county final for a young player who not only today but all season has been leading the line for Burrishoole. He's their third highest scorer in the championship. Started this game with a wonderful point, Billy, from long range, and he will be a big loss.
He will indeed. I just see Liam O'Malley is coming on at this stage, Mike. So Burrishoole have just to throw everybody into the fray now at this stage, and Liam O'Malley going into a cornerback position.
Well, it is now or never for Burrishoole, and Liam O'Malley, that great servant of the club, still a very young man, of course. Liam O'Malley, just 27 years of age, a regular in the Mayo senior squad for the last 5 or 6 seasons. He's in, and Michael Moran helped from the field as all eyes fall onto Kevin Dolan. And Tuar Mhic Éadaigh's leading scorer in the championship makes no mistake, 14 yards out, drives that free over the bar. That breeze is strong. Watching the flags down behind Shane Nevin's goal, the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh flag, the Burrishoole flag, and of course the tricolour, they're blowing right away towards the town of Castlebar. It's a breeze that's blowing straight down the field. It's at Tuar Mhic Éadaigh's backs, and they now lead 9-4 with some 20 minutes to go in this county intermediate final. That is the first score of the second half, and it's taken 9 minutes to arrive. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Liam O'Malley fouled. He's into this game, and of course he's all action on the ball straight away. Wins the free, takes it himself down towards Jason Doherty. He's away out from the goal though. He's not a scoring threat just now. He's forced further out by Tom Naughton into the centre to Pádraig Holmes. Now Michael Joyce. Burrishoole will have to carry the ball down into the breeze. They'll have to try and work it into a scoring position. Joyce left the pass short for Pádraig Holmes. The Tuar Mhic Éadaigh lads got a sniff, and they were in like a flash. Folan and the two Nauchtons, they closed down the wing back Pádraig McManaman. He's taken the free that he worked hard to win much too quickly. Took it too quickly for his colleagues, and Tuar Mhic Éadaigh have the ball back again. Burrishoole are rattled. They're on the ropes, and they're 5 points behind. 20 minutes to go. So much time left, but this game in danger of running away from them. Sean McManaman, who's been patched up. He's got a bandage just above his right eye after catching a stray blow in the first half. He chases that ball down. He shepherds it out over the line. That will go down as a wide. Another one for Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. But more importantly, even at this early stage, it runs down the clock just a little bit more. And Burrishoole, if they're going to start this revival, Billy, they need to start it very quickly.
Yeah, they need to start it soon. But, the fluency that Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are playing with, Mike, and how laboured Burrishoole are, it's a total contrast between the two sides.
It would remind you in some ways of last Sunday's junior final, the way Park got out in front and stayed in front and controlled the pace and the tempo of the match. Good ball from MacHale O'Neill to pick out Joe Heenahan. He's not the conventional target man at full forward, but he does a great job when that ball is knocked in his direction and he gets it. It's very hard to take it off him. They have this forward move though has broken down, and Pádraig Holmes to Damien O'Grady. O'Grady's ball though went one way and Jason Doherty the other. It's been the story of this final for Burrishoole. Misplaced passes, overcooked foot passes, and things just not working out. But Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, well, mortals too. They've given away possession. Michael John Welsh kicks it straight to Liam O'Malley. Inside to Jason Doherty. Damien O'Grady on the burst. Goes by 3 Tuar Mhic Éadaigh men. But Tuar Mhic Éadaigh have flooded their half with bodies. There are 12 Tuar Mhic Éadaigh men between Burrishoole, who have the football, and the goal. It's eventually shot by James Moran. He knows there's no way through. James Moran kicks it up and over, and that's flown over the bar. Good thinking by James Moran. There were 12 Tuar Mhic Éadaigh All Blacks between him and the goal. There was no way through that wall of bodies. He drove it with his right boot into the teeth of the breeze and up and over the bar. 9-5. They're not over yet, and James Moran doing the right thing.
Yeah, but tactically, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are very good, Mike. They're getting the numbers back at the right time, and then they're able to break an attack. But James Moran had nothing else on there, just to drive it over the bar. Great score.
It really is some sight when you see 12 Tuar Mhic Éadaigh men, lean, mean and up for the battle, standing in a line between the ball and their goal. it would take a brave man to put the head down and drive into those forest of bodies as Mark Heenahan and David Kane tangle near the sideline. Linesman Kevin Kennelly in quickly just to keep an eye on things. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh get on with the game. They are doing everything at pace today, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. Line balls, frees, and when they break, as Billy said, they break at pace. As Tom Yochton, despite his best efforts to keep that ball in play, looks like he's gone out over the line with it, and it will be a line ball. In fact, no, it's a line ball to Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. It last touched a Burrishoole man. Well, it looks like Kevin Kennelly and Vincent Neary have thought better of that. They're going to hop it.
I think he put a foot over the line, probably, Mike. One of those silly rules that we have in Gaelic football.
Well, it looked like it was going one way, then the other, but we'll hop the ball and may the best man win. The best man is James Moran. He's coming more and more into this game now. Makes some hard yards, slips it through to Jason Doherty. He's got a run here on Mark Heenahan for the first time in the match. Doherty shoots off the right. It's come back off the post. That pretty much sums up Burrishoole's day so far. Michael John Welch grabs the break. He had it. He lost it. Back to the goalkeeper, Brian Heenahan. Brian Heenahan has the legs taken from underneath him, wins his free and gets it moving quickly. He'd remind you of a goalkeeper in sevens football, Brian Heenahan, because when he has to leave his line, he leaves it and there's no doubt in his mind he's gone.
Yeah, certainly is. He reminds you a bit of John Casey in Charlestown. He's able to play that defensive goalkeeping role.
As we mentioned during the first half, Brian Heenahan has often come out the field as well as games have worn on when he's needed. Handy footballer further afield, and so far though he has had no cause to leave that goal behind. He has done a good job back there, and with his team 4 points in front, certainly no need for panic, as Sean McManaman, the Burrishoole fullback, was caught there with a high challenge. Didn't like the manner of the tackle either. Man who caught him was MacHale O'Neill, one of those sets of brothers we were telling you about. 6 sets of brothers involved in the playing squad, and Tom Heenahan and his brother Pat, who's among the subs, they make it 7. Tom Heenahan, of course, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh selector, and a man who played a fairly significant role back in 82 when Tuar Mhic Éadaigh brought the cup home, the Sweeney Cup, beating Burrishoole, of course, in that final 1-8, 1-6. That was the scoreline on that fateful day 28 years ago. It will not be repeated today, no matter what happens. 9-5 is the current Tuar Mhic Éadaigh lead. Stopwatch tells us 15 minutes to go. We're swinging in to the final quarter. Vinny Neary has taken care of the housekeeping. He's booked MacHale O'Neill. He's just given a free now to Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. Brendan Prendergast, the rock at the heart of that Tuar Mhic Éadaigh defence. He'll take it in his own time. Still a very young man in footballing terms, but so much experience with Tuar Mhic Éadaigh down through the years in junior, intermediate, championship football. Takes the free down the line towards his good friend Tom Yochton. Tom Yochton had it, bounced off his kneecaps, won back by Pádraig McManaman, moved on by Liam O'Malley to James Moran. Burrishoole are not out of this game by any means just yet. Long ball across the field to Doherty. Now he's starting to move, opens his shoulders. He's away from Meenahan, away from Stanton. The challenge came in from the corner back. Tom Stanton got a hand to that ball, and the corner back from Shanvalliard knocks it out for a 45. That'll do Burrishoole for now. It gives them a chance to set up camp inside the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh half, but anything they get, they are working hard for.
Like the option there from Jason Doherty, it wasn't on, Mike. Going towards the corner flag, trying to get a shot in at the goal. The Burrishoole, the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh defence are not allowing them to step inside. They're pushing them out all the time, and Burrishoole are taking the wrong options. They need to get the ball in front of goal. They need to work it in front of goal to get the scores.
Jason Doherty takes the 45, drives it in, and up goes John Heenahan. Almost like one of those cartoon characters you'd see. The way he rose into the air there, hung in the air, grabbed that ball and said, "Take it off me if you're able." Not surprisingly, nobody able, and the ball is cleared 50 yards out the field. That was a dangerous ball. It was dropping in under the crossbar, a flick, and all of a sudden the net would have bulged. But when Johnny Heenan goes up for those balls and makes them his, Billy, they are his.
Yeah, good solid pair of hands, Johnny Heenan. He has been doing it an awful long time, Mike, and he's out there today giving it every ounce he has got.
John Heenahan from Churchfield. I don't think anybody in Tuar Mhic Éadaigh 100% sure what age he actually is. He's been around for years and years. Didn't play in that 82 final, but you get the feeling sometimes like he might have so much experience, and using that experience so wisely again today, dropping back in front of his full back line when he's needed, and here he is taking a short pass from Brendan Prendergast. Takes the 1-2. Prendergast though hung on too long, and in comes both Damien O'Grady and Pádraig McManaman. Hit Prendergast with everything they had. They've won the ball back, and I think a little bit of retribution dished out by a Tuar Mhic Éadaigh man in return. Pádraig McManaman hit with a bone shaking challenge, and Vinnie Neary says it was 6-1, half dozen the other. We'll hop that ball. What do you make of that, Billy?
No, I think it was a free to Burrishoole, Mike. Definitely.
I think Pádraig McManaman would agree with you as he struggles to get his breath back. The Burrishoole left half back, he was hit hard that time. Couldn't quite put a name or a number on the man that hit him, but hot ball was the original call. Burrishoole have won possession. They've made 10 or 15 yards, and now they have the free that they worked so hard to get. Jack Grimes and the linesman Kevin Kennelly have got their hands in the air. That's because Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are making a change. They're bringing in number 18 Anthony O'Neill, and they're also bringing in number 19 David O'Toole, who I think the first he knew of that change was when he heard his father Kevin, the county board PRO, calling it out over the tannoy. He came sprinting down from the dugout, off with the tracksuit top, and he's into the match. That's what you call ready and waiting. The men who have been replaced, number 10 Pat Folan and number 5 Michael John Welch. What a story it will be for Michael John Welch if Tuar Mhic Éadaigh go on to win this game. One of the great servants of Tuar Mhic Éadaigh football. He has played 50 minutes of this intermediate final. The fresh legs of Anthony O'Neill and David O'Toole in for the final 11 minutes of this game. In case you've just joined us, it's the county intermediate football final. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh lead Burrishoole by 9 points to 5. We've had just 2 scores in this second half, one for either side. Deadlock prevails out around the middle, but all the while Tuar Mhic Éadaigh hanging on to a 4-point lead. McManaman drives it in, dangerous ball. Brian Heenan, the goalkeeper, just flapped at it, but he got enough on it to get it out the field and away. He's currently untangling himself from David Kane as the two men got wrapped up in one another. Burrishoole of the ball. Alan Moore recycled to Pádraig Holmes. Pádraig Holmes into the centre to Patrick Mulcrone. One more pass to Pádraig McManaman. Burrishoole need a score. McManaman off the left and over the bar, and the Burrishoole supporters on their feet and in full voice. They've travelled from Newport, Glenhest, Mulranny and all around for county final Sunday, and they're not going to go down without a fight. 10 minutes to go. Pádraig McManaman, the wing back, leaves us with a 3-point game, 9-6. Fine score, and their patience paid off.
Yeah, they're coming more and more into it, Mike, and they're beginning to get that little bit of space that they haven't been getting all day. In the last couple of minutes, they're finding the open space a little bit more, and that was a well-worked score. It was a patient build-up and the right option at the end from Pádraig McManaman.
So Burrishoole, county intermediate champions in 1966 and 1992, are within 3 points of Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. They've hit the last 2 scores of the match. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh haven't scored, incidentally, now for 11 minutes as Kevin Dolan comes racing out from the full forward line to win that ball in front of his man. Burrishoole were looking for a free. Vinnie Neary not interested. Brian Yaughtun outside to Anthony O'Neill. Now Tom Yaughtun. Again we see Tuar Mhic Éadaigh when they have that ball playing smart, clever and tight. Tom Yaughtun back to Brian. He's gone for it. It's on the wind. It's dropping just short. Hadn't the legs. That would have been the score of the match from all of 55 yards out on the right. Didn't drop over the bar though. Dropped just short. Gathered in by Shane Nevin. Shane Nevin to Alan Moran. Alan Moran outside to Pádraig Holmes, or in fact it was James Moran. He brought the ball into the tackle. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh man fouled Micheál Ronan, and Burrishoole and James Moran shaking his head. He knows he should have moved that on.
When they look at this tonight, whenever they look at it, Mike, they take the ball into the tackle, and you don't do that against Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. The way Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are coming back in numbers and the way they tackle, they take the ball off you. They're just running into the tackle. James Moran had plenty of time to transfer that. Those 2 bodies on his outside, he should have laid the ball off.
So up steps Kevin Dolan, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh's leading scorer in the championship. He's kicked 4 points in this county intermediate final. You can make that 5. Kevin Dolan from Derry Feeney leaves us with a 4-point game again, 10-6. He's hit 321 in the championship this summer. He has been Tuar Mhic Éadaigh's leading light up front, and if they hang on and if they win this game, he will be the man lifting the Sweeney Cup in about 10 minutes time. They lead 10-6 now. The kick out from Shane Nevin. possession vital. It's won by Damien O'Grady. He's also won a free. Again, he was surrounded. 3, 4 Tuar Mhic Éadaigh men. The free moved on smartly to Liam O'Malley. He has been fouled just as he released that ball. He got it inside to Enda McManaman. The tackle was late. It was overzealous and well spotted again by Vinny Neary, who's had a good game. He's let it flow as much as he could. He's had to rein it in a few times and show a few cards here and there. But by and large, it's all been good, clean fun. Jason Doherty then to kick this free. It's important. He kicks it like O'Gara almost. It was heading away from the goal. Then it swung in around, judging the breeze to absolute perfection. 10 points to 7. And if you were an optimistic Burrishoole supporter, you'd say there's a kick of the ball between them.
Yeah, a goal in it. And I was saying this from way back that Burrishoole need a goal to get back into this game. Liam O'Malley has made a huge difference since he came on, Mike, and you just wonder why he hadn't played from the start, because he's really involved in the game and he's the real reason why Burrishoole have come back into it.
So Burrishoole, as we've said earlier today, unbeaten all season long in the Kelly Cup, the County Cup, the League and the Championship. Their unbeaten record now, though, very much on the line in this County Intermediate Football Final. They have just 6 minutes of normal time to turn this game around. Again, Liam O'Malley gets on the ball. Down the line to David Kane, the big full forward. He's 45 yards out, taking his time, weighing up his options, strokes it in towards Doherty. They're looking to feed him more and more. He's away from Mark Heenahan. There was a hand on the jersey. There's a Tuar Mhic Éadaigh man down behind the goal, flagging for all he's worth. The umpire takes his cue from the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh man, and that was indeed a wide ball. But I think Vinny Neary not appreciating that extra umpire he had there down behind the goal. It is a wide, but Jason Doherty was close.
You'll do anything to win a county title, Mike.
Anything, Billy?
Yes, exactly.
So that is a missed opportunity for Burrishoole, but you can see the longer this game goes on, they're trying everything to get Doherty isolated and in on goal.
Yeah, he just slipped up there going in, but it's very hard to see where a goal will come from for Burrishoole, because the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh defence is very, very solid.
Jack Grimes, the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh manager, warming up a few subs now. He and his management team of Tom Heenahan, Tommy Whelan and Colin Keneally thinking about making more changes as two of the subs combine, David O'Toole and Anthony O'Neill, to hang on to that ball into Brendan Prendergast. For once he brought it into the tackle. Vinny Neary felt he was ripped. The ball was ripped from his grasp, and that will be a Tuar Mhic Éadaigh free. And it took two Burrishoole boys to take it away from Brendan Prendergast, so they had to fight the good fight, but illegally won that ball back, and John Heenahan will take the free. Drives it in, looking for his brother Joe. Broke off the chest of a Burrishoole player. Falls to Kevin Dolan. He takes aim, swings that right boot and fires it up and over the bar. Kevin Dolan with his 5th point. Make that his 6th point, in fact, of this county intermediate final. 6 points for the corner forward. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh lead 11-7, and with 4 minutes to go, that score worth its weight in gold.
Well, the right man got it when it was fed out to Kevin Dolan. He was the right guy to get it. He stroked it over the bar, which you'd have to say a terrible mistake by the Burrishoole defence. A ball that was 100% his, let it slip out of his hands. Kevin Dolan on the end of it, over the bar. 4 points in it. That's the kind of the safety score, Mike. Get away from 3, go to 4. And it's looking like Tuar Mhic Éadaigh at this stage.
Well, your heart would go out to that Burrishoole man who let that ball slip out of his grasp. It's a greasy ball. It is a game of inches when you get to this stage of the championship. He had it, he lost it. And Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, who just have been so sharp all day long, they were on to the break in a flash, and they worked as the right man. The right man is Kevin Dolan. He's been the right man all season, and he just curled it beautifully over the bar. Really cool when he gets into those positions. He doesn't panic, he doesn't get flustered, he holds his head. And his 6th point of the match means that Tuar Mhic Éadaigh lead 11-7 with 3 minutes of normal time left. It's their final to lose. David Prendergast on the ball now. He's the man who was sent off against Westport last year. He is doing everything he can, along with Tom Yockton, to hold possession. Tom Yockton tackled from behind by Patrick Mulcrone. Vinny Neary felt that Tom Yockton, I think, was fouling the ball there.
It was a ball that should have been clear there, Mike. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh just dwelled too long on that. They needed to get it down the field. Too many passes, backward passes there, and maybe Tom Yockton should have just ballooned it down the line.
Well, Vinnie Neary couldn't decide who was being fouled and who was fouled there, so again he hopped it. The hop ball won by Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, and they will take that and take their time now. Tom Yachten, who picked up a little knock there, he's okay, back on his feet, and Brendan Prendergast, the man who won the free, will take it in his own time, driving it down towards Kevin Dolan, racing towards the line with both Sean McManaman and Dara Drum. Ball is gone out over the line. Burrishoole have possession, but even at this stage it looks like they need a goal to have any chance of forcing a second day out, or maybe sneaking it. I see Tom Heenahan gone down behind Brian Heenahan's goal, just trying to offer some perhaps words of support or encouragement to the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh backline. They don't need it just at this moment. Instead it's Burrishoole who have some defending to do. Good nifty footwork, neat footwork from Sean McManaman. Works it outside to Alan Moran, the Burrishoole captain. He's about 50 yards from his own goal, heading towards the halfway line, steps around one tackle, needs support. It comes from Pádraig Holmes. He's seen enough, he decides to go long, drives it in towards David Kane, broke off his fingers, falls to McManaman, flicked on to Michael Joyce. They're looking to work the goal. He's looking for Doherty, intercepted by Mark Heenahan. Mark Heenahan leaves it. Out comes his brother Brian, and Brian Heenahan uses the fist to clear his lines to find David O'Toole, and the chance is gone. 29 minutes played in the second half. 1 minute of normal time between Tuar Mhic Éadaigh and their third county intermediate championship, their first since 2006. John Heenahan to Tom Yachten, hunted down by three Burrishoole men, holds his head, back to John Heenahan again. They have given an exhibition in holding possession and keeping that ball when they have it. Kicked down the line by John Heenahan now, looking for Kevin Dolan. Kevin Dolan beaten by Sean McManaman. The Burrishoole full-back has given every ounce he had to carry the fight to Tuar Mhic Éadaigh today, and if Burrishoole do go on to lose this game, it will be through no fault of Sean McManaman. He has been outstanding at full-back. As Burrishoole now try and carry the ball down the field, that breeze blowing into their faces. Pádraig Holmes to Alan Moran. Alan Moran kicking it through the mass Tuar Mhic Éadaigh defence, looking for Enda McManaman. He's been pushed in the back and fouled by Tom Stanton. Burrishoole have a free just on the arc of the semicircle, but will it be enough? We're into stoppage time. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are bringing in number 20, Stephen O'Neill. In he comes to join his brother Anthony on the field of play, and Joe Heenahan from Churchfield makes his way off as Jason Doherty kicks the free over the bar. 11 points to 8. We're into stoppage time. It's now all at the discretion of the referee, Vincent Neary. There'll be at least 4 minutes of additional time. A lot can happen, Billy, in 4 minutes.
A lot can happen, yeah, and you know, that goal is between them all the time, and Burrishoole might push on now to try and get that goal that maybe would bring it to a replay, but the way Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are defending, Mike, I can't see it happening, because there hasn't been a goal chance all day.
That roar you heard just a moment ago was the roar of the Burrishoole supporters when they heard that there were at least 4 minutes of additional time to be played. An awful lot can happen in 4 minutes. They've won possession. In case you need a reminding, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh 11 points, Burrishoole 8, 3 points between them. Burrishoole have the ball, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh have the lead. Michael Joyce down the line to Pádraig McManaman, to Liam O'Malley, to Jason Doherty. They're getting their key men on the ball now. Doherty held up by Mark Heenahan, slipped through to James Moran. He had it, he lost it, he has it again. He's driving through, he's gone to ground just outside the large parallelogram. Burrishoole have a free, and we have a little bit of afters as 2 or 3 players from either side ran in there to defend the honour around the square. Vinnie Neary though had blown his whistle for the free, and above anything now, everybody just needs to hold their head. Vinnie Neary is talking to both his linesman Kevin Kennelly and one of the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh players. The Tuar Mhic Éadaigh player he's talking to is number 2, Mark Heenahan. We're into injury time. We've had a really good intermediate final, Billy, and we just need everybody now to hold the head.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, there was a bit of a scrummage there, I suppose, in front of the goal, Mike, you know. But again, it was Tuar Mhic Éadaigh, numbers back, bodies back in front of the goal, and wasn't allowing that goal to go in, and it's going to be a free. I don't know if it's free, a point any good now to Burrishoole at this time. It will bring it to a dangerous lead for Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. 2 points is always a dangerous lead going into the last minute of any game, and possibly Jason Doherty will kick this over the bar and bring it back to a 2-point game. And you know, there's still a lot of time to be added on. There'll be still 3 minutes, I'd say, because this stoppage will be counted. And it's looking like...
well, it looks like Vinny Neary is not finished yet, because his umpire has been standing for the last 30 or 40 seconds with his hand in the air. He has some information for the referee. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh have had to take Mark Heenahan out of the game. He's picked up a blood injury, and he's just been replaced by number 21, Damien Heenahan. But Vinny Neary has spoken to his umpire. He's taken on board what he's been told, and by the looks of things, play is going to restart with a free in to Burrishoole. There's no doubt about it. They were coming looking for the goal or penalty. It was James Moran, their big midfielder, who was pumping those legs, trying to get closer and closer to the Tuar Mhic Éadaigh goal. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh have 14 men between Jason Doherty and the goal. He takes the sensible option and he clips it over the bar. It's 11 points to 9 now. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh 2 in front. We've played 3.5 minutes of injury time, but it's not over yet.
Yeah, I'd say there'll be at least another 2 minutes, Mike, of injury time, but you know, a 2-point lead, it's a dangerous lead, and you know, Burrishoole now will try and get the ball into that danger area and try and work another score. If they get it down to a point, then anything can happen.
That's 4 points from frees for Jason Doherty. He hasn't scored from play in this match so far, as the kick out is drilled down the field from Brian Heenahan. Who will blink first? Can Tuar Mhic Éadaigh hang on? They have been in front since the early stages of the first half, or have Burrishoole timed their run? Can they snatch it? Pádraig McManaman driving it in towards the edge of the square. There are Tuar Mhic Éadaigh men back there in numbers. One of them is MacHale Ronan. MacHale Ronan gets it, gives it to Micheál O'Neill. Now John Heenahan, the right man in the right place, out to Kevin Dolan, rides the tackle. Kevin Kennelly says play away, you were in play. Dolan's gone 30, 40, 50 yards. He's got nobody with him. He's just running for dear life. Across comes the challenge of McManaman. The kick from Dolan, gathered by the goalkeeper. It doesn't go dead, and while that ball is alive, Burrishoole have a chance. We're into the 5th minute of injury time. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh have the ball back. MJ Minahan has somehow managed to pick the pocket of a Burrishoole man away over on the far side. Now Damien Heenahan to Brian Yachten, back to John Heenahan again. They have the ball and they intend to hang on to it this time. Micheál O'Neill hit late by Liam O'Malley, hit with a solid shoulder into the chest, down, and a free and a foul, and that will give possession back to Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. And now their own fate, their own destiny is very much in their own hands. Oh, this has been a really, really good county intermediate final. It had everything we wanted, and sometimes a little bit more. And for sheer effort and determination, Tuar Mhic Éadaigh not found wanting. It's all over. Tuar Mhic Éadaigh are the county intermediate football champions for the 3rd time. They've beaten Burrishoole by 11 points to 9, and they have another county title, 1982, 2006, and again 2010. They bring the Sweeney Cup home to the Gaeltacht, home to Tuar Mhic Éadaigh. And Billy, if ever there was a county final where the team that deserved to win it went and won it, this was it.